We are living through tough times, socially, economically, and even politically. In this country, Kenya, this week of the 1st or the 2nd of July 2024, for the last few weeks, we've been having protests, lamentations about the state of affairs in our country, politically, socially, and economically. And the people leading the lamentations and protests are the young people, Generation Z and millennials. And this is because they feel the brunt of the bad times. And so today I would like to talk about this situation, and particularly to give some advice to the young people on what they can do to make the bad situation better, or perhaps to prevent it from becoming worse at an individual level. Because that is what I do as Dr. BMS. I nourish your mind with education, with provocative material to think, positive, provocative, to think about and reflect on your own and improve how you approach the health of your body, the mind, and soul. And this is because in my daily work, I deal with young people and their families. They are brought to me with social problems, addiction to drugs for rehabilitation. Some of them have got behavioral problems, have been sent away from school, from college. They are in rebellion at home. They want to fight their parents. And so in my daily work, I see the struggles of the young people to cope, the families to bring them up. And it's in this context that I would like to talk to young people, especially at this time when the problems just seem to be magnifying for them until they have to go to the streets to protest and even demand a change of government. So, what can you as a young person do to make your bad situation better, or to prevent your bad situation from becoming worse? Join in with me and let's discuss this together. But before we go into it, I would like to ask, have you subscribed to the Dr. BMS channel? I would like you to subscribe to this channel because this channel, we are going places. We are bringing up discussions that are good for the whole family, and they are good now and forever. It is a channel where we talk about the things that affect the health of our bodies, our minds, our souls, at individual level, at family level, at society level. And so at all the levels you operate as an individual, you will find something useful on the channel. Click that subscribe button and join the community. Give your comments at the end of the video in the comment section. Dr. BMS will look at them and respond. Tell me what you like to talk about and what you like me to talk about, and together we can create this discussion going for the betterment of our bodies, minds, and souls' health. So, young people, what can we do? I want to make myself a young people, so I use the we. What can we do? What can you do to make your situation better? Things may be tough at home and away from home. You have finished school, perhaps you didn't finish school, you finished college, or you dropped out because of factors that were beyond your control. There were no funds your parents could not afford, or something happened. Or you finished school, college, but you can't find a job. You are hustling, but still you can't make ends meet. You feel frustrated, and sometimes you feel dejected that life is not worth living. You are sinking into hopelessness, and you think, oh, there's no light at the end of the tunnel. What am I going to do about this situation? I would like to talk to you, and I would like to help you make your situation better. Nyinyi watoto, nataka mkuja na baiskeli zenu huku. Kujeni huku. Na msipita hapa sababu sitaki mtokee kwa video. Muendeshe kule kwa uwanja kule juu. Sawa? No. Go and play there. Don't come with your bike here. I don't want to see you. That big field, go and ride the bike there. As a human being, we were created to be social, to belong to social groups, starting with a family as the basic social group. Then you make friends, you make communities, you form clubs, societies, you make nations. Human beings, we are social beings. And because of this nature, which was created in us by God, a lot of what we do is influenced by the social groups that we belong to. And so, the starting point, and perhaps the most important thing for any person who is struggling with making their life better, is to realize that you can tap into your social group to make your situation better. But again, that social group can make your situation worse. And this is what I would like us to talk about. It is called the law of conformity. That's what I want to talk about. The law of conformity is like saying, I am because you are. And because you are, so I am. And so human beings cannot avoid the effect of their friends, their associations, their family, their community groups. And so as a young person, when you know how to navigate through your social groups, you do well compared to a person who does not know how to navigate. Because when we are in social groups and we behave in a certain way, it becomes repetitive. It becomes our way of behaving in that group, in that family, in that club. And that creates a habit. And as I've said in previous video, a habit is something that is difficult to remove because it becomes sticky. Once you develop a habit, you try to kick it out. There's always a small thing that remains. This is because, biologically speaking, habit or behaviors that become repetitive until they become culture, your nature of doing things, habit, they get stored in the part of your brain called the midbrain. The brain generally has got the forebrain or the frontal, this upper part of the brain. There's the midbrain deep there in the middle around the ears, in there. And then there's the hindbrain behind here, behind the head, where if someone hits you, you normally fall and become unconscious because they control coordination, balance, and those kind of things, okay? And so the forebrain is for thinking, reasoning. Making these videos that Dr. BMS is making is because of the forebrain. But the midbrain is about those things that are learned, they are automatic, they are habit. For example, if an insect falls on my forehead, I don't need to think. My hand will just move there and remove it, or I scratch, okay? And so those behaviors that are automated are stored in that part of the brain called the midbrain, and these behaviors do not need anyone to prompt them to happen. They just happen when the right occasion comes. For this reason, therefore, you do not want to develop habits or cultures, cultural practice in your social groups that are going to be stored in a place where you cannot control them, because that will be a problem, especially if those habits are problematic habits. And as I said when I started, in my work, I deal with problematic habits, drugs of addiction, young people coming in addicted. They have been chased away from school, college, they have dropped out. they are at war with their families. I deal with young people in delinquency, misbehavior. They have been sent away from school for discipline cases. I deal with young people who are protesting and rebelling against their parents. And all this is because they have formed a habit, a behavior around their daily way of life until this behavior becomes ingrained in their brain and it becomes repetitive, sometimes even destructive. So then, what can you as a young person do to prevent the formation of habits, behaviors that become detrimental to your situation? They don't make it better, or they even make it worse in these tough times that we are living through. First and foremost is just don't start. Do not start putting the wrong things in your head, in your thinking, in your imagination, in your intentions. Perhaps thinking that you are joking or it's just something temporary. You will remove them when you want, because the truth of the matter is that it will be difficult to remove what you have put and has gotten ingrained, and it becomes a second nature for you. So, for example, as a young person, you are in college and some of your friends are tempting you, let's go out and smoke a joint of cannabis, let's go out and break into a shop somewhere. I know I have a key, we steal some things, we get some money. You are starting to put bad behavior, bad ideas in your head, and soon they will become ingrained. They'll move from the forebrain. This time you're just thinking, so it's the forebrain. Soon they'll move from there to the midbrain, where they become automated, and it will be difficult. So don't start. Again, as a young person, it is good, even when things are gloomy, things are not looking upward, it is good to keep your expectations, your imaginations high. Think big, remain positive, remain ambitious, with good ambition, not bad ambition. That right now, I am jobless. Right now, I have dropped out of college because my parents cannot pay school fees. But one day, I'll go back and read to the highest level, get the highest qualification. One day, I'm going to get a job and I'll stand on my feet. One day, I'll start my business and I'll have money of my own. So think big, imagine big, even when things are not good. That positive mindset is what will keep you poised to go towards the success that you need to go towards. Because the opposite is that when you don't think big, you start developing a sense of hopelessness. And when you lose hope, despair comes in. This is when now you are open or ready to take anything, because you feel nothing good will come. So if someone came and gave you junk stuff to consume, to associate with, you will associate with it because that's all you have and you've no hope for anything better. But if you are hopeful for something good, you will reject, you will refuse to engage, to do something that you feel is below your ambitions, your expectations, because you know, even if right now you are low, but it's temporary, you're gonna be up there. So imagine big, remain positive with your objectives. Talking about your ambitions, your plans, at the time you are keeping them up even when things are low, it means that maybe your family is not able, and that's why you had to drop out of school. Maybe your family is not able, and that's why you don't have capital to start that little hustle for yourself and you have no job. And in our country, sometimes even getting a job, you have to know who, and sometimes to do some funny things. And maybe your family is not able to do those funny things to make you get that job, or doesn't know anyone. And so sometimes your family can feel like it is a burden. Unfortunately for us, humans, we are not empowered to choose our family. However, we can choose our friends. And the interesting thing is that friends are just as important as your family in forming these social groups that we belong to as humans. So, a third thing I would say is love your family, because even if they do not have the means to support you to go to where you want to be, but deep inside they love you and they wish well for you. You can only love them back. However, choose your friends. Choose your friends wisely, because if you have good friends, positive friends who think big, who dream big, who are keeping on the right side of things, not starting to do bad things, not putting bad things in their mind, in their behavior, then you are choosing the right friends, and that is going to make a big difference when that opportunity comes for you and your friends to propel yourself to the next level. And while at it, as a fourth advice, I would say, try every day to expose yourself to the good exposure. For example, right now, you are watching Dr. BMS. This is good exposure, I can assure you, because the things that I talk about in my videos, if you look at them, they will help you. They can build you. And that's why I like you to subscribe to our channel. So, good exposure. Expose yourself to good things. You can read a book. Even if you are jobless, you have no money, it is not impossible to find a good book, to borrow a book, okay? To go to the library. We have libraries, public libraries that are open. You can go there. You don't have to pay money to go in. So expose yourself to good things. Read a book. Watch a podcast. Join a club. Volunteer for an internship somewhere, an unpaid internship. And sometimes when you get there, you may find they even just give you something small for your bus fare. Don't sit at home dejected, feeling helpless because you dropped out of college or you finished college. Now there's no job. So what do you do when you wake up in the morning up to the time you sleep? I do nothing. You just hang around this estate, and now you've started engaging in bad behavior. You're drinking alcohol, just carelessly, smoking weed, sitting, conniving with groups that want to go and commit crime, to get little money, to chew miraa, to smoke bangi. You are actually going into bad company, not spending your time well, and your excuse is because you are jobless, you are idle, you have nothing to do. No, you can do some things in that joblessness. And some of those things do not cost money. You can train yourself in something. You can tag along someone who is doing something and learn from them. Keep your mind sharp. Keep your ambitions bright. Keep your head clear. Keep your head sober. Don't become a drug junkie. Don't sink into prostitution because you want to look for money, because you are going to ruin your body, mind, and soul. And when your moment comes, because that moment will come for you, it will find you already a spent force. So expose yourself to good things. Keep your mind sharp while you retain your ambition and you work towards it, because it will not fail to come, it will come at some point in time. And as you expose yourself to the good things, that new book, that new class, watching Dr. BMS, that new internship, this is also the time to expel the junk that you may have put in your body, mind, and soul previously, maybe out of ignorance. So you are now onto a good thing. You've joined a class, you've joined an internship, you're learning new things, you're helping your friend at their little hustle. This is the time now to stop that smoking of weed. This is the time to stop that abusing of drugs. This is the time to stop all those antisocial behavior that you were engaged in previously because you are idle, you are frustrated. Because now you are not idle, now things are starting to look up, and you know that with time, things are going to improve. But they can't improve if you keep the bad and the good inside you. The junk and the good cannot exist at the same time in your body, mind, and soul. So when you open the gates for the good to come in, open another gate for the junk to go out. Expel the junk. And in so doing, it's important that you walk your path. Do not get hooked onto other people's agenda. I see young people who get distracted and lost completely just because they were being pressured by peers, social force, peer pressure, and they went into something against the judgment. Resist that. Although we say humans are social beings, but you still retain your head and your thinking. Walk your path while within that group. If you find your group members, your friends, are starting to walk a path that is contrary to your beliefs, your aspirations, your ambitions, then choose to leave them, to take a different path, to leave that group and join another group, so that you remain steadfast on your path of life, and you will be rewarded for remaining on the path of your life and not getting dissuaded or lost just because of the influence of people who you do not know what their agenda is. Lastly, I would say, allow time for the good harvest to come in. Allow time for this patience that you are having to give fruits. Some of the young people I see in my work are people who are impatient with life, and they are impatient for success. You had a bit of hiccups. You could not finish school or college because your family could not afford. You could not get a job, so you were tamarking for 2-3 years. But within those 2-3 years, you damaged yourself so much that when the job came, you're already addicted to drugs, alcohol, cannabis, whatever. You are already a criminal being looked for by police because of some of the things you used to do while you are waiting for a job. And when you look at it, you are impatient. You just wanted that money, that little happiness, fun, there and then. No, life is not going to end tomorrow. Just allow for some time for that good harvest to come in. Because when you do not allow for time, what you get is a bad harvest or an unripe fruit falling into your hands, when in fact you would have gotten a very ripe, juicy fruit. I hope those help the young people, and I encourage the young people at the moment, as we said, they are speaking out about their problems in our country, social, political, economic. I encourage you, speak out, because you are the force of the future, but avoid things that can make these good things you are protesting, demanding for, things that will come should find you in a good state of body, mind, and soul to receive them, and not the contrary, which will be a damaged state. Thank you. See you again in another video of Dr. BMS.